I'm Dr. Saab Johal, and I'm a clinical psychologist with the emergency management team at the Ministry of Health. And we've put this DVD together to help you to understand about the foundations of psychosocial support in emergency management. That is, what is psychosocial support and how are you going to be able to use it and implement it in the case of an emergency event in New Zealand. In the first part of these presentations, I want to help you to understand what we mean by psychosocial support in emergency events. We'll talk a little bit about the common frameworks for understanding that. What are the principles involved in trying to deliver psychosocial support to affected populations? And then we'll move on to what are the sorts of reactions that you could see in individuals and communities, and how is it that you're going to be able to help those people no matter what agency that you're working for, and how it is that you can work with other agencies to do that. Distress and suffering are not uncommon responses in an emergency event. This presentation is not about trying to pathologize that. What we're trying to say here is that that is a common response, and most people without intervention will probably recover to their normal level of functioning. But what we're trying to do here is to understand why that is, what is helpful, and what may not be helpful in terms of an intervention. So psychosocial support is really two words fused together. There's the psychological aspect of it, which is focused upon the individual person, and the social side of it, which is focused upon more of a community type of intervention. We know that during and after emergencies or disasters, there's a whole range of mental health effects, and that could be from low-level anxiety to full-blown post-traumatic stress disorder types of symptoms. And they can affect a small number of people or a large number of people, depending upon the scale of the impact of the disaster that we're talking about. And we can talk a little bit about what are the variables of the disaster that influence how widely those impacts are felt. Now, psychosocial interventions are aimed at helping people to adjust to the post-disaster environment. Things are never going to be the same for those individuals and communities who are affected by emergencies. And what happens is that not only is the physical infrastructure changed, but the social infrastructure is also changed. How those people feel about themselves and all the people around them, and also agencies that might be trying to help them, is affected. And you need to understand that, and this is here to help you. Psychosocial interventions are also aimed at the individual in helping them to cope and understand with what they might be going through. The evidence indicates that the earlier we can help people to understand what's going on with their own bodies, their own thoughts and their own feelings, the more quickly they make the adjustment and are able to return to some kind of semblance of normal functioning. So psychosocial support really is aimed across three domains, and we're trying to improve well-being and functioning across those three domains. The first one is really focused upon the individual. We're trying to help people to function at the highest capacity that they can. We're trying to help them to fulfill their own potential, to improve their mental and physical well-being. If we take one layer outside of that, we're hoping that we're going to be able to intervene so that we can improve the relationships that people have with one another, and also to the agencies that they're going to be working with. Now, in particular, I'm thinking about trying to connect people with their loved ones and making sure that they've got good contact with their family and the social support systems. Culture and values of a society are extremely important, and you functioning in a post-emergency environment will be thinking quite carefully about, well, what's important to you and what's important to those people who you're trying to help. And being mindful about that, being mindful about what your purpose is and what people are experiencing will help you enormously in trying to intervene to help them.